And you are hosted by none other than your favorite coach's favorite coach, your favorite fat freckle man, the big dog himself. Who? I hope everybody's having a good week, man. I'm not, but that's beside the point. Sorry for that little bit of feedback just now. I don't know if y'all heard it, but I did. So I ain't like that. Hold on, having a minor audio issue. Let's see if that helps. Seemed like my stuff was connected to too many things at once. Hold on. Let's change some settings. That sounds a lot smoother. That sounds a lot smoother. Yeah, 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 yeah. That seems a lot smoother. All right now. Come on now. Come on. Come on, Tech. Don't start wilding out now. Okay, we got an episode to do. All right. All right. So I'm double checking just to make sure, of course, that the YouTube feed is kicking. Um, Again, I hope everybody's having a good week, despite the fact that I am not necessarily among the number who are. Um, how y'all liking the snow? I hate it. All you people who swear y'all love winter and swear y'all love snow, I ain't seen y'all on the socials bragging about how much snow we got and speaking the joy of the winter wonderlands. It sounds like y'all don't love it that much. Everybody who wanted snow days and the days off from work, where y'all at? We got days off from work, didn't we? I mean, some people did. A lot of people did, but some of us, had to go in sooner than we thought, right? Right, right. Wasn't as fun as you thought it was. Matter of fact, joke's on you. Uh, but in all seriousness, I hope people have been able to be safe, stay as warm as possible. Um, I somehow sustained a tear or a rip in my coat, two of them that only just it. Yeah, so basically, I ain't got no winter coat. I ain't got no winter big man with no winter coat. Fat man with no winter coat. That's me right now. But 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 you know, I keep the thermals on, Scully hat. I even got the gator to cover up this part. You know what I'm saying? Um, so by all means, I still don't play with the cold like that. I've been sick far too often in the last year alone, and kind of at the start of this year, but really towards the end of last year, I was sick way too often for me to be playing around um, with the weather. If y'all could listen, tell me if y'all hearing any feedback, because I know I hear it sometimes. I hear stuff in my headphones that y'all don't hear, but definitely don't want any type of static messing up the fun here. You heard? Um, oof, there we go. That's better. That's a lot better. Um, so let's get to the topic. Let's not delay any further, man. The topic we're starting this week with uh is grief. We talk a lot about grief and what it is, you know, how to get through it and stuff like that, right? If you follow me on Facebook on Charles, you'll see that I did post, rest in peace to all our lost loved ones. You know what I'm saying, and encourage people to honor their fallen in the chat. So and quite a few people participated. So I'm glad that it gave people a space to honor those who we miss and stuff like that in a healthy way, in a safe way, um, just to show that love. Uh, for me, it's definitely you know January uh, was both the month where um, it was that was Hiram's birthday month. Um, if you know me, Hiram is one of my players. Mentioned him in episode 106. Why I gave him a shout out. But it's also the same month we lost Hiram um, to gun violence. We also lost another player of mine, De Jour French, um, to complications, medical complications. So at the end of the day, and then this month in February the 2nd, it marks the 1 year mark of my little cousin's passing. Um, so pretty much might as well say, currently, still in a grieving process as we speak. Uh, my family is managing with it as best as we can. I think this past weekend that wasn't really a good, uh, as best as we can don't necessarily mean good. Um, and I think that we was kind of struggling with it this weekend. Um, the nature under which we lost him, self deletion, has been real hard on the family. Um, trying to think about the whys and all those sorts of things we can't even really control, to be honest. Um, but it impacts us, all in different ways. As far as my household, it impacts my son the most, my oldest son the most, because that's like his bro. He didn't just lose a cousin; he lost his brother. Um, you know, uh, he lost his best friend. So, constantly, I know me and my wife are both worried about how he's dealing with it from time to time, and um, I think sometimes that in trying to cope with your own level of grief, two things can happen, right? Either you can push it to the side for the sake of those who are grieving with you, or you can tend to honestly you can tend to put your grief ahead of everybody else's, and both of those can have detrimental effects, right? Pushing it to the back isn't necessarily the most healthy thing to do, because you're not actually grieving at that point. You're at a standstill. um you're holding back your emotions, and that kind of stuff doesn't go anywhere just because you put it to the side. It just it's just delayed. It builds up, and then of course what happens after it builds up, you know there's some kind of collapse, implosion, or explosion, um because you didn't do your due diligence, you didn't do your due process as far as the things you needed to do, whether it be cry, journal, therapy, um self-expression, some kind of physical release, whatever it is you needed to do. um you know Talking to yourself, spiritual connection. There's people who go, to the grave sites of the deceased, or if there's no grave site, they hold this picture, and they talk to the picture, or they just, they talk to the person as if they're there, as if that person can hear them. Whatever it is, you need to do to grieve. You have to take the time out to do it. And again, this is me in a kind of hypocritical sense, because I have to remind myself to take that same advice. So I don't want to sound like I got all the answers. I'm not no guru. I'm not no therapist. Shout out to my boy AB Bracewell, who I will have back on here at some point. But I'm not no therapist. I'm not no professional. A podcast. A podcast, you know. So, but just, just as a person, as a real person, um, I'm be honest enough to say that I don't always handle it the best, but I do try. I do try to catch myself at some point, when it's weighing on me, to do whatever little thing I need to do to not just decompress, but to genuinely go through the grief. Now there's some things that makes it too hard, right? Like maybe certain songs is just way too heavy. Um, uh, Certain movies may be way too heavy. Certain places is just kind of like you avoid because it's way too heavy. Uh, all that's okay. Like not to stray too far from the topic, but when we talk about mental health, right? When we talk about mental health, and when we talk about things like peace, like people always like to talk about protecting your peace, we talk about it as if that means everything's supposed to be perfect, but it's not. These things are supposed to matter when things are bad, right? Like your mental health is how you get by, not how you get by, because it's not just getting by, but how you can thrive while things are not going well. You know what I'm saying? How you can thrive as a human being while still mourning your loved ones. A close friend, a bro of mine, you know, we just had the funeral for his mom. Shout out to WAP, you know what I'm saying? We love you, bro. Um, and he's gonna have to go through his own process at the funeral. The pastor who did it, Herbert Lester, the fourth, I'm gonna say. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. And if so, Herb, I apologize. If you're the third and not the fourth, I apologize. And I'm gonna have him on here too, by the way, when I get things set up. I would like to have him on there as well. But as he did the sermon, he spoke to, having the experience of having to bury a parent, um, him even being in the pastoral role that, he has to eulogize his friend's parents and then having to eulogize his own parent and how much grief he still carries. Um, despite the comfort that he's had, despite the healing that he's had, that there are still going to be nights where, he cries himself to sleep. Um, What's good, Kane? What's good? What's good? Thanks for showing up. Um, but yeah, so like grief isn't a linear process, right? So, like I said, when we talk about these things like mental health and protect and your peace, that people so want to say they're always protective. When it comes to grief, excuse me, I'm sorry. When it comes to grief, one of the things that we gotta acknowledge is, you having that moment when you're sad, it doesn't, or you crying or whatever it is, it doesn't mean that, that in itself mean that there's something wrong with how you're processing. You're processing it, What's the problem is when we don't process, when we pretend that we're already over the situation, when we pretend that we're fine when we're not, when we need a hug and there's somebody who'll give us a hug, but we won't ask for the hug. When we shut ourselves off. Now, there is time that you need to be by yourself, but when we shut ourselves off from people who would willingly, you know, be in the space with us, to keep us company, to make us feel better, whatever it is, that's when it gets unhealthy. But grief, it runs deeper, right? It runs deeper than that if we just being honest. Um, because when we talk about grief, right, 9 times out of 10, the first thing we kind of go towards are the people who are deceased. But grief hits harder than that, and grief is deeper than that. Grief is really about loss, period. Grief is about loss, dealing with loss, like grieving friendships, grieving uh opportunities, grieving the life you had. You know what I'm saying? And I think in a society of, keep on trucking, keep on pushing, keep going forward, um, we're not encouraged to grieve these things in a proper way. Um, Simple, like it's fair. It's absolutely fair to have your dream job. Something happens to the company, you get laid off, and you grieve the loss of the job. Now, granted, you get another job, you're working, you're paying your bills, and I'm not even talking about the salary that the dream job came with, but what it is that you were doing, right? Because as they say, if you do something you love, if you get paid to do something you love, it's like you'll never work in life again. So when I say dream job, I'm factoring that into like getting to do something that you wanted to do and getting paid for it. And now you're doing what you have to do to pay the bills. Grieving that loss is fair. It's something, it's nothing wrong with that. It makes sense. It makes sense. Now, granted, with this new job, you're going to have to figure out a way to have a positive outlook on this new job. Probably first and foremost, that you got a new job and you're not unemployed and homeless, that you can pay your bills, right? First and foremost, that would be the positive way to look at it. But there's nothing wrong with missing the job that you had. Like people like to act like stuff like that is crying over spilled milk. I don't agree. I don't agree. I'm not saying you're supposed to sit there and, be depressed every day because you don't have your dream job anymore, or, the path to get back to something like that is really difficult. Um, or you can't do it. It's going to be a while before you can do something like that again. There's nothing wrong with grieving that. There's nothing wrong with, like I said, grieving a friendship. Whether whether y'all went y'all separate ways based on mutual understanding, whether you cut off access to them or they cut off access to you. Like that's another thing, right? People tend to want to be so tough and be so bulletproof. Like, oh well, if they have cut off access to me, I don't care about them. It don't do nothing to me. It don't hurt to me. I don't need nobody. I don't need nobody. I'm tough. I'm a, whatever, whatever. And are you really? Like, is that what toughness is to you? The fact that you don't feel it? Is that what you really think toughness is? I disagree. I think toughness is being able to mourn that friendship, being able to grieve that friendship, what it meant to you, what that person meant to you, the good times that y'all had, the direction of where the friendship was going before they decided to switch up on you. You know what I'm saying? Um, excuse me. Because maybe that was the person you told certain things that you didn't tell nobody else. Uh, missing that it is it's a substantial loss. This is something like that is a substantial loss. So uh I completely understand the need to grieve such a thing. But again, in these kind of days and times, we're encouraged not to because it seems like it shows some kind of weakness, especially if you're grieving someone who did something to you, right? Like if you're married and that person was, because of course people act like the only reason people get divorced is because of infidelity. So, I mean, I guess we could go with that one. Um, Better yet, let's go with the real number one reason people get divorced: financial difficulties. If because you two couldn't make the finances work, you had to go your separate ways because unfortunately that person was going to lead you to financial ruin. Your finances were never going to be straight so long as you stayed with that person because they just are not committed to making the right decisions. But everything else you loved about that person did care about you. That person did know how to say the right things when you felt bad. That person did cook for you. That person did, you know, make sure that when you came through the door, your keys wasn't in the door. That person took care of you when you were ill. That person guarded your secrets. It's just the fact that honestly, despite everything you love about that person, you can't afford to stay with that person because they will bring you to financial ruin. And it makes no sense to be in love and homeless. If we're being honest, that don't make no sense, right? So, grieving everything else that you lose by not being with that person is sensible to me, right? Um, Grieving opportunities, even. And I'm not saying that when it comes to grieving all these things, it's supposed to hold you up for years and all that kind of stuff. Um, but grieving opportunities, even, right? People act like you can't grieve that, like, okay, well, this was a shot, I missed it, get over it, next shot mentality. Now, I understand next shot mentality. Y'all know I like to use my sports metaphors. I understand next shot mentality because if you spend your time worried about the shot you miss, you're going to miss more shots. You're supposed to take the lesson from the missed shot. Maybe I was too flat. Maybe, I didn't have enough arc on it. Maybe, I had, uh, uh, I didn't have it placed properly. I probably should have had it, caught it on the seams or put it on the seams so that, whatever, right? I had this opportunity to, do something that I've always wanted to do. And because of something out of my control, I'm no longer going to get that opportunity for who knows how long. I had this opportunity to work at a place I really wanted to work. Uh, but due to certain circumstances, I can't take the job. I could no longer take the job. Like I applied, they called me back, I interviewed, I'm gonna get hired for it. And now because of other circumstances, I can no longer take the job, right? Let's say it's something like that. There's nothing wrong with mourning with grieving that opportunity. Now, for stuff like that, yes, it should be a shorter grieving process. But there's nothing wrong with feeling bad. Like people act like because you feel bad about things that it's like you're choosing depression. People act like you're not allowed to be sad. Like you're not allowed to look back and be like, damn, I really wanted that. I really wanted her. I really wanted him. You know, they act like you're only allowed to grieve dead people. Do you know how hard it is to grieve somebody who's alive? How raw that is? To grieve somebody who's still here, who you could see? That's raw. That's raw. And sometimes it's not even like a beef thing between y'all. Like, without saying too much, I'm grieving a family member right now because of things that happened. He's going through a lot. So I don't hear from him as much as I used to. This used to be somebody that I could hop on the phone and call damn near whenever. Somebody who would just randomly hit my line. Hey, stop by the house. Somebody who made it a point to stop by for my son's birthdays. And if not on the actual day, the week of at very least. And if he didn't have a gift that day, he was going to have it some point that week. Like, hey, man, so forth and so on. I know it's his birthday. What does he want? What does he want to do? You know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to take him. Like, all. So it's a member. So, like, a family member integral to my family unit that we no longer have access to, not because of any beef, not because, he not rocking with us and we not rocking with him. It's just that in this space of time, we have to give him, we have to give him his space to deal with whatever it is he's dealing with, right? But it's hard. And in this time, it's changed him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Tragedies, illnesses, uh, like I said, losing a job, all these things can change a person in a real, real way that we don't account for um, a lot of times. We simply don't account for what that change does for that person. Um, but in this case, it made the person far less accessible, far less available. And, it hurts. Not even just being selfish, like, but it does. Because again, somebody who is so vital is like they a ghost now. But he's not like he's not gone. But when I call him, he might not answer. Or if I call him and he answers, he's not on the phone for not even a whole minute. I don't get to see him as often as I like. So again, respecting his space, respecting his situation, respecting that in due time, as long as God gives us both breath to still be alive, in due time, he'll come back around. I can understand and respect all that. But that don't mean I don't miss my nigga, man. That don't mean I don't miss bro. I do. And I be worried about bro. You know what I'm saying? So that shit get raw. But that's the kind of things we don't think about when we talk about grief. Those are the kind of things that go You might as well say it goes over our heads and we don't consider it. Um, so this ain't gonna be the longest episode. Um, but I wanted to share with you guys from a vulnerable place, um, and encourage you guys to do what you need to do to grieve who and what you need to grieve. Like, again, grief is for more than just the people, or in some cases, the pets we've lost, uh, rest in peace to, my cat Goldie. In fact, like I have, so, when you get close with certain friends and stuff like that, it ain't just your animal that you care about. You start caring about their animals once you've been around them long enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of my friends lost a dog, my bro, uh, Mimi, my bro and Mimi, they lost their dog. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that kind of hurt because the dog been around as long, like really been as long as my oldest son. Um, so even telling him, he was like, "Word, oh man, oh man." So you know what I'm saying. But grief is not just for who is no longer on earth or alive, I should say. Grief is for the things that we no longer have. Period. And I don't care what nobody say, you get to grieve things that you no longer have. Do you get to dwell on it forever? No. Do you get to let it hold you back to the point where you can't progress and do other things and meet other people and attain other successes in life? Absolutely not, because that is being stagnant. But do you get to cry about it? Yeah. And whoever tell you, oh, you cried over spilled milk, the guy wanted that milk, god damn it. And I can't go back and get that milk. That's why, like, when people say, you can't cry over spilled milk, like, okay, but can I just up and go get more milk? Yeah. Can I just up and go get this person that's not with me anymore? No, 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 I can't. You know what I'm saying? Even something like an injury, grieving your life pre-injury. I can't run the same anymore. Tear your MCL, your ACL, your Achilles, your patella tendon, whatever it is you tore, ripped, broke, ruptured, and now you can't play your favorite sport anymore. Hell, forget your favorite sport. You can't go that long on the treadmill anymore. When it rains, your bones feel it. When it's cold, you're miserable because the injury makes your bones extra cold. I mean, extra susceptible to the cold. You know what I'm saying? Now, yes, you're going to have to learn to get used to all these things and accept it. But that initial first, damn, yeah, you get to be sad about that because it's not spilled milk. It's not. You could go get another. You can literally go to the store and go get more milk. Or if the glass broke, you could go get another glass and pour milk in the glass. Life, people are not replaceable. Not all opportunities are made equal. So if you miss an opportunity, that's not readily replaceable. You know what I'm saying? That's not something that you could buy. The things we can buy, I get it. 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 But the things we can't just buy, you know, like I said, for some people, the pets, you could get another cat, but you can't get that cat. That cat is not going to be like the cat you lost. That dog is not going to be like the dog you lost. That parakeet is not going to be like the parakeet you lost. It's just not. So grieve who and what you need to grieve. All right, now on to uh on to a quick announcement. Well, first and foremost, if you are already here, like like the video, okay? And if for some reason you're not subscribed, please subscribe, okay? And if you think that this is something that somebody else can benefit from or would have a take on, right? Like it's something that will provoke thought or a conversation between you two. Share all these things y'all can do for free. Like, share, subscribe. It costs you nothing, and you can do all them things with just like a couple of button clicks. So do that for your boy. You heard me? All right. Let's uh let's move on to some content. Like y'all want to react to some content? Let's react to some content, man. Let's do it. Let's react to some content right quick. What content do we want to react to today? Do we want to go the divisive route? Just be arguing to be arguing? Or do we want to get inspirational? What we want to do? What we want to do, chat? Got some options here. Um, we'll do a couple of pieces of content. We'll do a couple of pieces of content, okay? And then we'll shut this down. So the first piece of content, because as much as we was talking about grieving and you know what? No, I'll say that for something else. But let's laugh a little bit, y'all. Let's laugh a little bit. Can we laugh a little bit? Let's laugh a little bit. Share my screen with y'all. Let's laugh a little bit.
All that niggas get the hell out of the way.
I am Jose Mourinho.
I'm saying, bro, it's one of those things. All that niggas get the hell out of the way.
I am Jose Mourinho.
I'm saying, bro, it's one of those things. All that niggas get the hell out of the way.
I am Jose Mourinho.
I'm saying, bro, it's one.
Shout out to brother in the blue in that clip. Shout out to brother in the blue. For those of you who somehow, y'all might not know sports like that. For those of you who, who may not know ball, for sure y'all recognize who Kobe Bryant is. And if you ever seen him on the floor, you know he was dominant. Rest in peace to Bean. Speaking about grief, right? Rest in peace to Bean. But he had this thing he used to do that you seen LeBron mocking later on, where he says, all that means is get the hell out the way. That means give me the ball and move and let me do my thing. It's ISO time. It's me versus whoever. It's time for one-on-one basketball. So in this clip, bro says it's one of those kind of things. So as you can see in the still, it's a group setting. They kicking it. You feel me? They kicking it in this group setting. And I guess he got the young John over there with him. And he's trying to let the folks know, hey, it's ISO time. It's ISO time. I ain't gonna lie. I found that funny as hell. The first time I saw it. And I feel like maybe fellas, we should have this as a a universal code. You know what I'm saying? Once we got it lined up. Hell, even for the fellas that's off the market. Like myself, you at a you having a family function, or the folks is at your crib, but your lady gave you the eye, and you know where she trying to go with it. Like, what I mean, just let the boys know, hey, hey, it's time. It's time. What else we got? What else do we got, y'all? Hold on. What else do we got? You know what? Because I agree with this so much, I want to go with this.
Terms like his truth, her truth, your truth, my truth. No one used to speak like that.
There was just the truth.
No one used to speak like that. Just go back to 2008. No one used to say, oh, that's her truth. That's his truth. That's new. That's new speak. And so even to me, that's interesting. Okay, now the truth is subjective. If I feel that it's true and I say that that's my truth, then not only is it true, but if you question it even, or you challenge it, or you say, wait, hang on, you don't get your own truth, then that's now perceived as an attack. That's not just you disagreeing with me, that's you denying my existence. I'm like, I'm not trying to deny it. You're a human being. I've never denied the existence of anybody.
Right yeah.
I'm just saying that if one of you right now were to say that, oh, I'm now a woman, I'm like, I mean, you can believe what you like, but you're not.
So I don't want to get too stuck into identification politics, that particular side of it. But what I really, really did want to share that for is, I hear that phrase a lot, my truth. I'm just speaking my truth. I'm just speaking my truth. No, your truth doesn't matter. My truth doesn't matter. His truth, her truth, him, her, him, her, him, bodies, doesn't matter. Nobody's truth matters. The only truth that matters is the truth. The truth is not subjective. Statistics, numbers, analytics could be somewhat subjective depending on who manipulates the numbers, right? Like, people like to say numbers don't lie. I always say numbers lie if you bend they arm. They say men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Numbers lie once you bend they arm. Absolutely. You can manipulate numbers to tell whatever story you would like them to tell. However, the truth is the truth. And the minute you mix the truth with anything that's not the truth, you're telling lies. It's that simple. It's that simple. The truth is not subjective. It does not belong to a perspective. It is the truth. Now, some things, yes, are not black and white. Some things are gray. Some things are all types of shades. But the truth is not subjective. I want to share that with y'all right quick. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. And let me see how much more time. You know what? I'll save that. But I kind of want to share with y'all this Michael Beasley piece. Because he
Sometimes I wake up and I can't find him. A tiger don't care about his stripes. You understand? But everybody think I'm just so confident because I don't know. I'm scared just like y'all. I'm just too afraid to tell you I'm afraid. Everybody looked at my life and made it a problem for me. I made it here through that. Look, I averaged 30. Like, my stomach was growling and tomorrow came. Like I was hungry by myself and tomorrow came. I don't like you. I don't have to like you. I like me. So I like me that much. I'm because I was there for me. God.
That was
Um, I'm gonna let it play again after the young lady finished talking, but that was fire. Protect Michael Beasley at all costs. Protect Mike Beasley at all costs. You hear me?
Up and I'm Michael Beasley. Sometimes I wake up and I can't find him. A tiger don't care about his stripes. You understand? But everybody think I'm just so confident because I don't know. I'm scared just like y'all. I'm just too afraid to tell you I'm afraid. Everybody looked at my life and made it a problem for me. I made it here through that. Look, I averaged 30. Like my stomach was growling and tomorrow came. Like I was hungry by myself and tomorrow came. I don't like you. I don't have to like you. I like me. I like me. So I like me that much. I'm because I was there for me. God.
All right. So, just some inspiration for people who might not have had things the easiest, man. Um, for people who have had, hard life similar to Michael Beasley. Michael Beasley's done with a lot of things, growing up in, not the safest neighborhoods, betrayal from family members, losing his mom, being a public embarrassment, his career not working out the way it did. He wanted it to. All to now being at a place to where, again, he's this popular, beloved, and well-known figure, but still having to deal with whatever his own demons are. So I just put that at the end, just kind of, what he said. He said, you know, my stomach was growling and tomorrow came. Like, at the end of the day, uh, the number one mistake humans make is assuming we have more time. That is the number one mistake that every human makes, is assuming we have more time. We do not know how much more time we have on earth. But as long as tomorrow comes and we get to be part of that tomorrow, like, it's an opportunity. And we need to treat it as such. Um, Again, as I said before, grieve who and what you need to grieve in order to move forward with your life and be the best version of yourself. But, but, as long as tomorrow comes and you're here when it does, you got a second shot. Try to make the most of it and take the time out to be grateful for it. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I hope that sharing with you guys, help bring us a little closer. You know what I'm saying? This is a community I appreciate. I even seen in the Lifeline an interaction between two of the lifers. If you're not part of the Lifeline on Facebook and you would like to be a part of the Lifeline, please either DM me at lifebelifing_now on IG, or hit me up on Charles on Facebook and let me know that you would like to be added to the Lifeline private group on Facebook. Like I said, yes, I'm going to start posting more Life Be Life and content there. But really, it's a community that I want for people to be able to, relate to each other, support each other, and for all of us to, go forward together and grow forward together. That being said, um, that being said, be on the lookout for Mr. Know It All, episode 221. I got to be on there. So be on the lookout for that. What else? Next week, Miss Tommy will be back on February 12th. Miss Tommy will be back for her segment, and she's running the whole thing. I'm just going to be in the background, maybe ask a question or two, but feel free to jump in the chat. And she has some interesting things to share with us next Thursday at 9 p.m. And I think that's it for the announcements for now. Oh, yeah, of course. Friday, catch me on the Yo Cuz podcast for Lit Fridays. You heard me? All right. As sorry, I'm messing up. But hey, on behalf of A.C.E, my brother who he's always be, on behalf of the owner of Simply Nishay Catering and the sponsor of the Life Be Life and podcast, the Two Kings 215 podcast, Keish with the Cakes, aka Denver's mom. Denver has a birthday coming up very soon, so shout out to Denver, and also shout out to my nephew Noah, who was born near, like they was born around the same time. So shout out to nephew Noah, whose birthday also will be this month. Um, but as I always say, be smart, be respectful, be kind to as many people as you possibly can. I know some people make that impossible. Don't worry about it. But just take the time out every single day to be kind to yourselves because you cannot pour from an empty cup. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate all the support. I mean it. Words can't explain how much I appreciate the support I got from y'all. And when the days hit, once I got, thousands and tens of thousands, I will remember all of you who were here with me from the ones, the fives, the tens, and the hundreds. It means more to me than y'all will ever know. When I say I love y'all, I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and I appreciate y'all. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Do it on purpose. Do it with a purpose. And I will see y'all next Thursday, 9 p.m. Except for, hold on. I forgot I did have one last announcement. Except for those who I will see tomorrow at 7 p.m. for Taya the Curator. Turn Your Pod Up. Shout out to her. She'll be there tomorrow for Turn Your Pod Up. I almost forgot. I almost forgot, homie. But we have Turn Your Pot Up, the author edition tomorrow. And that will be from 7 to 8 p.m. Uh, it will be located at G Host Bar and Lounge, 1653 West Highland Park Avenue, Philadelphia, PA, 19140. Okay. So there's for those who's gonna show up, keep in mind, I know there's uh there's a walkway down, but that's not where you're going. You're gonna go kind of to the other side, where to the other side of the funeral home. That's where G Host Bar and Lounge is. It's where for any other lifers who's going to show up, or for any of the supporters of Podcast Link Philly who's going to show up, it's where I had episode 100 Life Be Life and Live. So definitely show my ladies some support. Star from Podcast Link Philly, of course, Ty, the creator from Podcast Link Philly, and Portia uh, from Vibrations show will be there as well, and they will all be celebrating uh, their their anniversaries and their tenures as authors. Okay, so it's Black History Month. Let's celebrate some Black excellence, and make history this month yourself. All right, that's tomorrow, 7 to 8 o'clock. G Host Bar and Lounge, 1653 West Hunter Park Avenue, Philly, PA 19140. Turn your pod up, the Black Female Authors Edition. And I'm out of here.